Good morning. Hi, I'm Jenny Whitener, and welcome to the Value Proposition Canvas, a tool to understand customer needs. Let's move along. Today, we're welcoming you to our Inspire series. It's a number of webinars that we offer complimentary to our community, sharing insightful tips for leading and innovation and change throughout our communities. This is a part of our Innovation for Good effort, and today we're broadcasting right here from our studio location in the Chattanooga region in Rossville, Georgia. You can see the Lookout Mountain skyline behind me. So just want to thank you for joining us today on the Inspire series as we look at the Value Proposition Canvas. Again, as I said, my name is Jenny Whitener, and I've had a great run. I've enjoyed all of the aspects of my career. Early days in the healthcare industries with giants like Kaiser Permanente and Prudential Healthcare, and then getting into creative problem solving with Ernst & Young, where I was with a global director position with them for almost 8 years, and then launching my own business, Bridge Innovate, when my son came along, which was the catalyst for me to become an entrepreneur and have my own business. So welcome to Bridge Innovate, and it's my pleasure to be with you today. Let's start by thinking about the value proposition. I'd like to invite you on the chat, if you would, join me and give me some perspective here. When I say value proposition, what comes to mind? Let's hear from you for a moment in the chat. So when I say value proposition, what comes to mind? If you would share your thoughts in the chat, that would be great. Okay, starting to see some comments coming in. When I say value proposition, what comes to mind in the chat? So Luke, if you see some, you can help me with that. Different perspectives coming in. A lot of people will talk about meeting customer needs, key products and service offers that differentiate. Thanks, Brett. What your product or service offers that differentiates you. Thanks, Mark, from other products. Glenda Hicks, the differentiator, what makes you stand out? Absolutely. So when you think about that value proposition, I want you to think about not only the differentiation, but I want you to think about that differentiation in terms of what the customer needs, wants, or values. And so I want you to think about it very nicely connected, strongly connected to what the customer perspective is. So Indiana is saying, what the business offers to customers that's unique. Absolutely, getting that customer perspective right in there, Jovine. Also, what will the customer take away from the product and service, right? What is the value that they actually receive from engaging with your product and service, that sort of exchange mentality? Absolutely. So I think of the value proposition as a value exchange. When I'm offering this, my customer receives this type of value experience. Let's move on. So when you think about that today, when I was preparing for our discussion today, our session, I love Uber, right? I mean, it is to me the greatest value proposition, new product in the marketplace in the last 10 years. I love it because with a tap, the driver, a driver that is highly rated, or at least I can see their ratings, knows exactly where I am. They know exactly where I'm going, and the entire experience is cashless. So it met all of those specific needs for me as the customer, contrary to the traditional historic taxi experience. Let's keep going. So again, join me in the chat. What % of new products fail when they're first launched in the market? Give me your guess on that. What % of new products fail? So use the chat. Tell me what your thoughts are there. 50%. Okay. Yep, that's a good one. Okay. 50% for Mohammed. Thank you. Other guesses. 70%, Glenda. Okay, she's not as optimistic. Michael, how do you define failure? Like they don't meet the expectations that were initially set for product launch. 95% Amit. Juliet, 80%. Oit, 90%. Okay, Michael Preston says all of them fail. I love it. Right. So initial launch of new products. Let's go to the next slide. It's not so good, right? There are too many products that are launched into the marketplace that actually fail to meet expectations of their original design. In fact, Clayton Christensen, former professor of Harvard Business School, rates it as high as 95% from his research that he did as professor there. And look at a consultancy, but well-respected consultancy, Simon and Kucher, where they talk about 72% of new products flop in the marketplace. So it's pretty significant. So what do we do about that? How do we enhance this value anticipation, the value exchange opportunity, and then keep that in mind as we go through the product and service design process? Let's keep going. So when I think of great product launches, I mean, everybody has their point of view about this, but I'm a Steve Jobs junkie. I love his products. I love the designs that he came out with. And according to Steve, this quote says, you've got to start with the customer experience and work back towards the technology, not the other way around. So not only did Steve look at the attributes, the product functionality, but he looked at the entire experience, how the customer would engage with the product throughout that journey from beginning to end. So we go on and we look at that a little deeper. You'll see that actually the reports today are that customer experience is the new competitive arena. Look at this report from Forbes. Can you believe this? 89% of companies are now competing primarily on the basis of customer experience, not just the customer product itself, but the entire experience from beginning to end of utilizing that product or service. And look at what IDC is reporting. $641 billion projected to be spent on customer experience technologies in 2022, up from just $130 billion in 2019. Look at the significance of the investment in the marketplace, where people are really trying to get empathetic with their customers, understand their needs, their values, what they really need from that product or service, not only from its design, but the entire experience of the utilization of that product or service. So let's keep going. From my perspective in looking at the research and other companies' literature, I really think it's about empathy and friction. That when we're trying to create a great value proposition and thinking about it in the context of the customer experience, I really think it's around deep empathy, really understanding the customer's perspective. Oftentimes they're non-verbalized perspectives, what those needs are, what their values are, what job needs to be done by that product or service for them. And it's about reducing the friction of that entire journey from beginning to end of how they utilize that product and service. And these are some of my favorite brands that do this very, very well. Let's keep going. So join me again in the chat. When I was thinking about great products that have a great customer experience and the product's designed well, for me, I came up with these particular designs. When you look at these, what's your favorite human-centered design? It could be one of these products or something else. Share with us in the chat where you've seen a particular product or service be designed with the customer's needs in mind to make it completely frictionless. Give me some ideas coming through on the chat. You can choose one of these or one of your own. Alexa, absolutely. Absolutely. And Siri, right? I love talking to them. Google Pay, absolutely, Amit. So thank you so much. Yeah, what else? What other types of favorite designs, human-centered designs, where you really know that the customer's perspective is coming through? Uber, Wade saying, yeah, and Hannah, Carvana, absolutely, and make the job of buying a car so easy. Like Kent's Michael Preston, yes, absolutely. One of the ones I want to point out on the screen here for you today is look in the bottom right. If you've purchased a car recently, there's a new feature so that when you walk up to your trunk, you can actually just wave your foot right underneath the car, and a sensor recognizes it's you, and the trunk pops right open. In fact, this is such an interesting example. We were working with Morehouse Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center in a recent entrepreneurial program with them. And Dr. Tiffany Bussey, the director of Morehouse's program, she said, I just went to buy a car, and this was exactly the feature I looked for. I didn't care what the gas mileage was. I didn't care about the safety rating. I just wanted this way to open my trunk by simply waving my foot underneath the car. So I see some other examples coming in, like Diaper Genie, absolutely. And look at this pill bottle that tells you, right, when the next time is that you need to take your medicine. Or think about the simple redesign of the ketchup bottle and how easy it is to get the ketchup out when it's upside down, and that's the proper position of the bottle. Or look at the desk that's coming out in schools today for those who want to move around. Easy to roll, has a place to put your backpack right underneath the desk. So many wonderfully great products that we see coming out in the marketplace where people are really empathetically, deeply listening to their customers' needs and wants and designing around that. Just the basis, that's the origin of the value proposition. So let's keep going. Further research on this topic, I love this article, the study that came in by Clay Christensen, and he talks about milkshake marketing. He and a number of his graduate students were working with a fast food company trying to help them improve their product sales. And he said, typical product marketing approach would be to look at it simply by category and then by demographic. And what they found was really working for this particular fast food company was to look at it from the customer's view of what was the job to be done by the product. And this particular example he was using was around improving the sales of milkshakes. And what they did when they actually interviewed customers, it wasn't just about the sweetness, or it wasn't about a cool drink. It was really about having something that would be appetite quenching, that wasn't messy to have in the car. People were primarily going through the drive-through to get these milkshakes in the morning, to have something to do during their commute that would fill their stomachs, right? But it wasn't messy like a bagel or a sweet roll or something that would drip into your lap or get all over your fingers. So he talks about the fact that when we're really deeply listening to our customers, we want to understand what the features of the product are, but we also want to understand what is the job to be done by that product for our customer. And that helps us get even more clarity around the value proposition. Let's keep going. When we are working with our clients here at Bridge Innovate, we love the work by Dr. Alexander Osterwalder and Alan Smith, and along with a number of other colleagues that wrote this book, The Value Proposition Design. It's great. If you don't have it, I would encourage you to pick it up. They have some wonderfully simple, but yet very powerful tools in here to craft your own value proposition or to coach teams or individuals in your organization around the power of an effective value proposition. Let's take a look at a video from Osterwalder on the value proposition canvas.
Every day, companies design products and services to improve their customers' lives. But 72% of new product and service innovations fail to deliver on expectations. This means that customers don't care about 7 out of 10 new products introduced to the market. It doesn't have to be this way. Just like you create value for your business with a business model canvas, there is in fact a tool to intentionally visualize, design, and test how you create value for customers. It's called the Value Proposition Canvas. The Value Proposition Canvas is composed of 2 parts, the customer profile and the value map. With the customer profile, you describe the jobs your customers try to get done. Jobs can be functional, like getting from A to B, social, like impressing friends and colleagues, or emotional, like gaining peace of mind. You highlight your customers' pains, which annoy customers while trying to get a job done. Pains are negative outcomes that customers hope to avoid, like dissatisfactions with existing solutions and challenges, frustrations, risks, or obstacles related to performing a job. And you outline customer gains, which describe how customers measure the success of a job well done. Gains are positive outcomes that customers hope to achieve, like concrete results, benefits, and even aspirations. Use the customer profile to visualize, test, and track your understanding of the people or companies you intend to create value for. It's a map that becomes clearer the more you learn about your customers. The second part of the canvas is the value map. With it, you list the products and services your value proposition builds on. You describe in which way these products, services, and features are pain relievers, how they eliminate, reduce, or minimize pains customers care about, making their life easier. And you outline in which way they are gain creators, how they produce, increase, or maximize outcomes and benefits that your customers expect, desire, or would be surprised by. The value map makes explicit how your products and services relieve pains and create gains. Use it to design, test, and iterate your value proposition until you figure out what resonates with customers. You achieve fit by creating a clear connection between what matters to customers and how your products, services, and features ease pains and create gains. Great value propositions target essential customer jobs, pains, and gains, and do so extremely well. Your customer profile may contain countless jobs, pains, and gains, but your value map highlights which ones you intend to focus on. But don't forget, an outstanding value proposition can still fail if your business model is flawed. Successful companies embed outstanding value propositions in scalable and profitable business models. Use the value proposition canvas to create products and services that customers want. Get started at Strategyzer.com.
Fabulous video, a really simple but very powerful way for a team to assess a business value proposition, a product value proposition, a service value proposition by deeply looking at the customer. In fact, we're going to give it a run here today, and I'm going to ask Luke, who's working with me on production, to come off of the presentation mode and see if we can actually play a bit of a game today on our webinar. I'd like to have you help me unpack the customer shopping experience for the grocery store. So I'm hopeful that all of you have had an opportunity to go to a big scale grocery, something like a Walmart, big scale operation. I know a number of you are participating with us internationally today. So think of that in mind, and you think about the grocery shopping experience. Go into the chat and tell me what are some of the pains of the grocery shopping experience that you find. So one of the things I'll just throw out as you're typing is the long wait lines at checkout. So that would be an example for me. I can't find what I'm looking for, says Dawn. So it's sort of like, yeah, this giant directory or something, like where things are located. Yep, absolutely, Glenda. So how do we get, what other pains do you have? They're not aware of the sales that are going on in the store, right? So many product offerings, which ones are your best value? They're not, products are sometimes sold out. Yeah, reaching the top shelf. Yes, I am such a short person. I love that one. I'm like, could you get that down for me? Being out of stock. Yes, absolutely. Long queues. So those lines, and sort of when there are too many items that it's causing confusion. Okay, so you can see how the process goes. Now, what are the gains? When we think about ourselves as customers of the grocery shopping experience, what is it that we're trying to achieve? What are the positive outcomes? So what are the positive outcomes that we're trying to achieve? So for me, it's like speed. I want in and out with my groceries very quickly. So I said, Michael's saying convenience, right? Sort of one-stop shopping. So most things at one place. So that one stop, greater access to items, Luke, how fast you can go on this one. Convenience, greater access to items, able to select specific vegetables or fruits, sort of like getting very specific opportunities in the vegetable section. I want to know what I'm looking for quickly, like find me this place quickly. Points on the product, discovery of new items that you've never heard of, right? So that's a joyful part of the experience, like introduce me to some new product opportunities. Absolutely. So discovery of new items. What are the jobs? What is the job the customer's trying to do in the grocery shopping experience? Give me that in the chat. What is the job that customers doing in the grocery? They're just managing their finances. Absolutely. They're buying food. They're putting food on their table, right? They're getting food for the household, food for the family, having groceries for the next meal, buying gifts. Yeah. So sometimes it goes beyond the grocery into some other options, like John saying, selecting, researching. That's the job that they're doing. getting food and narrowing it to the to-do list, planning meals. A very interesting perspective. Yes, from some folks, grocery shopping may actually be about planning the meal, thinking about how they will use the product. So it's sort of that trigger for the job that they're doing is about how they're going to be using those groceries when they come home. All right, so you get how that works. So when we are coaching a customer, if we had a client, if you were our clients, right, we were walking them through how they might create more value in that grocery shopping experience, we would go to the left side of this value map and we would start to ask the customer, our client, okay, Walmart, what are you doing in terms of pain relievers? Let's start there. We think about how their products or services and their customer experience journey is progressing. Have you noticed anything recently about how big box grocery stores are adjusting their approach to provide pain relievers in their shopping experience? Any suggestions here? Anything that you've observed? Mobile apps, absolutely. So order it, self-checkout, absolutely, Glenda. So those are the kinds of pain relievers. Curbside pickup, yes, thanks, John. So you can see then how a product or service or the customer experience in its total is beginning to evolve to specifically address on the right-hand side, the customer pains, gains, and jobs to be done. So just out of thanks, yes, price lookup, Mohammed, absolutely. So that would be a pain reliever. So you can see very simply what I want to leave you with today as we kind of get to our close is you can use this very simple tool, the value proposition canvas, to map more deeply what your customers' pains are, their gains, and the jobs to be done, and then reflect back over on the left-hand side of your product and service offering and the context of the experience, right? What are the pain relievers you're doing? What are the gain creators that you're delivering? And then what is that combination of products and services on the far left-hand side that delivers the customer experience? This particular map helps you create focus on that product evolution and that customer experience design. Let's go a step further. I want to show you a template that we use with our clients when they're trying to actually articulate the value proposition. So we have just a quick little walkthrough on the next slide, Luke, where you're looking at a very simple statement for the value proposition. You know, our insert the product and service helps who, the customer, to do what? What job do they have to be done? And then by how are you helping them? What pain reliever, what gain are you delivering in order to ultimately create that overall gain? So what pain are you reducing to create some type of gain? It's a very simple kind of worksheet that you can certainly tweak. And you can see how these may evolve on the right-hand side when you look at like HelloFresh, take the stress out of mealtime, America's most popular meal kit. Or we look at MailChimp, do it all with MailChimp, bring your audience, data, marketing, channels, insights together so that you can reach your goals faster, major value proposition play there in a single platform. So when you're working with your customers internally in your own companies or organizations or with your clients, think about using the value proposition canvas in simple tools like this that help a company articulate the value proposition for their offering. So as we wrap up today's program, one last sort of plug for the value proposition is that not only when you create it, are you going to be having a better opportunity to have a better launch, a better frictionless experience, a better sort of value creation experience for your customer, but it's also going to be a great way to impact your strategy and your innovation portfolio. This value proposition is the center of that, actually. So if we go on to the next slide and think about, we saw this in the video, that the value proposition, if you're building out this strategy canvas for your organization, sits right in the center of the business model canvas, of the strategy canvas. And everything on the right-hand side externally is about how you deliver that value through customers and through the marketing segments and leveraging external trends. And everything on the left-hand side is around the internal activities in order to deliver that value proposition with your cost and your revenue at the bottom. That simple one-page strategy canvas and the value proposition going right there in the middle to mobilize strategy and to shape the product design and the customer experience. So with that, I want to just open it up for questions. Any questions for today's program around the value proposition question? One coming in from Area. I have a question. Could this too framework be used to build a feature too? As a product manager, can I use this to define a feature? For an existing product, absolutely. The important part is to get the value proposition canvas out. You can Google it. Strategyzer makes available images of the value proposition canvas online, free, or you can buy the book and get the full toolkit. But absolutely, going into that deep analysis of what customer pains and gains and the job to be done will help you mature a product offering. Absolutely, Area. Any other questions coming in from our participants today? Okay, great question, Area. Thanks. All right, so if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me at jennywhitener@bridgeinnovate.com. We love to talk about value propositions. We do it a lot. Thank you for today's session. What's coming up next on more of our inspirational series on webinars? We have The Power of the Customer Experience, a conversation with Chief Commercial Officer David Haltman of Kinco. You'll love his perspective. If you've not been engaged in customer experience design, Dave has a lot of experience in this arena from the field and leading that. Also, in our studio, we're opening it up for co-working. I want you to come and join us on July the 27th, and a great session on leadership, engineering a culture that wins, on August the 18th with Annie Penn. So lots of good things coming up. I hope you'll join us again. Reach out to us at bridgeinnovate.com, and we'll see you really soon. Thanks so much. Bye now.